Shady business practices exist in pretty much every industry, and it's probably most notably seen in music, at least from my experience, because, we have record labels giving artists bad contracts, individuals just scamming people out of money, the usual stuff in music. But this past weekend, we got another bit of information, or I guess evidence, that the industry is kind of shady from Joyner Lucas. So, welcome to the Bar for Bar podcast, and this week is Joyner Lucas versus Karen Civil. So, first things first, I am just going off of what I have read, primarily from Joyner, as well as just a few other sources. Nothing's really, confirmed until they straight up come out and say anything, being Karen Civil, because, we have what Joyner says and what every person that has been negatively affected by her saying, but we don't know what she has said. So that's the position that we're going in from. Also, I guess it's good to note, or not good, but it's something to note, is that I don't like Joyner as a person or musically. Like, I don't really care for him either way. But whenever something like this comes up, it's, like, what the hell? So I'm not going in trying to defend him because of my preference or bias towards him. I'm just saying, like, this is just not like, this is something that came up and it should be talked about and addressed. So, getting into it, on Friday the 17th, I believe it was, Joyner Lucas posted on social media that Karen Civil had basically scammed him out of nearly $60,000 back when he was first starting. I believe this was back in 2015. At least that's what the memo, I guess, said. So he had hired her basically as a consultant, and also basically you can call it a promoter, I'd say. What he wanted was some help to get into, like, to get a presence online, essentially, and gather some sort of social media presence, and just get his name in people's mouths. The normal sort of promotion sort of thing. Totally fine. Do you, like, I don't have any problem with that. If you're a new artist, you have to get attention somehow. The problem here is that apparently nothing came of it. So what had happened was, like, there was this memo that he had screenshotted and posted on Twitter and Instagram, and they're talking about how they're going to do these blog placements and just, again, getting his name out there on just major websites, you could say. And going on from that, there was an agreement. The compensation for the services listed above, the company will pay contractor $55,000 US. So in this case, the company is the company that Karen Civil was, I guess, working for or working with, and Karen Civil was the contractor. And then obviously Joyner had to pay her to do it. So there's that. And then, what was it? So what had happened was, after that, Joyner says that after she got all the money and was paid up front, she stopped answering his calls, and every time she did answer the phone, he was received with an attitude, which was just like, well, in his words, like, I was messing up your day. And I guess the issue here is more that Joyner wasn't in a position where he could afford to lose this money. he said on the first tweet and first image that this was right before his son was born, and this was basically the last $60,000 that he had. Like, this was the last of his money. So he had nothing at this point, and he was basically entirely depending on her to do her job and help get him somewhere, help do the promotion and get his name out there. If you know Joyner, I feel like he did a lot of it on his own, but he did get picked up by a few blogs, I assume. To me, he just kind of came up out of nowhere, and people on Reddit really grabbed onto him with the 508 album, and which was cool, but everything after that I haven't really cared for. Anyways, there was another thing that he said that kind of makes a lot of sense. I mean, well, before I get to that one, he also said that she went on vacation with the money, and I'm like, damn, that's messed up. And then he was calling her because obviously he wanted her to figure out what's going on and do the work that they agreed on. And she's like, I'm on vacation, which I get it, you're on vacation, but you also didn't do what you were supposed to do. Anyways, what I was going to get into before that, the reason Joyner waited so long to say anything about this was because, she's fairly well known in the industry, I feel. She has industry ties. And at that time, if you're trying to be a new artist and you're trying to get some recognition and attention, you're not going to call people out that early in your career. It's because you don't want to, well, in his words again, you don't want to get blackballed. But also it's people around her would probably be like, nah, we're not working with you. And because she, as well as people around her, are influential, it would be very hard to get a lot of people's attention if you were to do that. So it makes sense. Like I said, it makes sense, and I don't blame him for doing that. Coincidentally, right around this time, I think, Cameron also called her out for pretty much the same thing. So there was that, and nothing really came of it then. Cameron came back recently, I think yesterday, and was like, that's interesting. Remember when I was saying all this back in the day and y'all were hating on me for it? Basically saying he's like, are you going to apologize to me now? So I don't know. Also after that, so back when Cameron called her out, Joyner also did so. And he had gotten a text message from, I guess, her management team, or someone texted. No, I think, yeah. Okay, so what he said is, after I spoke up, you had your people hit me directly, and you tried to threaten me, and then tried to make me write this fake ass apology. And then he screenshot the text conversation, which that's interesting. So basically, it's just a fake ass apology. She or her peoples typed out this apology, sent it to his people, and was basically like, hey, we need you to tweet this out. Which is just kind of shady in itself, but it is what it is. So that was but yeah, there was that, and yeah, he had nothing left at that point in time. And luckily, he's in a position now where I guess he's financially stable, of course, but also where he feels comfortable to call her out on this bullshit. But this isn't something new. I feel like a lot of artists have gone through something similar. Maybe not with someone as high profile as Karen Civil. Maybe, smaller promoters, new managers, stuff like that. Because if you think about it, there's, I'm sure, a lot of people who have just kind of come up or were starting to come up and, got managers that were, I don't want to say no names, but like they weren't really anyone super in the industry, and they're really in it mostly for the money. So the only interest they had in the artist was to get them popping so that the managers, can get paid. They don't really care about the artist beyond that. That's a little bit different because here, Joyner paid her to promote him, and nothing came of it. And she basically, in his words, ran off with the money, and then started to basically act as if he was like he was in the wrong. At least that's kind of what I'm getting from it. So there was that. There was another thing. Obviously she's gonna, she had to put out some sort of statement. Actually, let me see if I can pull up the actual statement, because that's just a screenshot. But basically it was a statement refuting everything that Joyner had said. Damn, where is it? But yeah, before, I'm still scrolling through, but Joyner was not the only person who had been affected. We've seen, I'm just scrolling through. Meek Mill is another major person, but also there was a lot of other artists, I'm sure. Damn, what was I gonna? Where'd it go? Anyways, beyond that, there were other people who came out just kind of talking about her, and I feel like they were mostly joking because, that's just who they are. So one of the people that came out was Freddie Gibbs, and he was joking Karen Civil didn't mess with him, or didn't do him wrong because he'd probably kill her or something. He was very he's from the streets. She knew not to mess with him. And then Danny Brown said Karen Civil made him cry. So I'd take that with a grain of salt. But Meek Mill said they were cool, and then they weren't. When there was an opportunity to make money, there was that. She switched on him. Let's see. Yeah, I can't find exactly the post now, but I'll just pull up the little snippet. Basically saying it's easy to make broad statements when you aren't familiar with the back end of the business. Subcontractors were paid, including Revinal agency, PR, local reps, all parties contracted out on your behalf to execute, and everyone was paid. So kind of what I was saying in the as far as the memo and contract was, she was essentially a contractor for a company, and she had to find other contractors to work with too, subcontracting. So there were multiple people involved. So in that sense, it does make a bit of sense, that she isn't the only one to blame. But I think a lot of it does come down to it always comes down to communication. Now that I think about it, but yeah, that's what I was gonna, it comes down to communication. It wasn't very well communicated, I guess, to Joyner what needed to be done, and how this part works. It was probably also not well communicated, what she was going to be doing, because to me it sounds like the understanding was that she was going to be doing a lot of the work, and not much of it happened. But also, she didn't. I think it was more like it wasn't done in a timely manner, and then whenever she was contacted, it wasn't very well explained as to what was happening. Like he was saying, it sounded like she had an attitude anytime like he called her, which, I mean, that's kind of messed up when this man paid you to basically promote him and do work. Like, why are you not doing the work, or at least letting him know what's going on? Like, I don't know. Like, there's pieces missing here. Like, because we really only know one side, but it's kind of shady. There was another bit that happened because she had gone on Clubhouse, because Clubhouse is apparently still a thing. Like, if y'all didn't know, but let's see, where was it? She was wilding out on Clubhouse. Where is it now? Oh God, I don't want to see all those comments. But basically, she was incriminating herself. Like, damn, I wish I had saved that tweet. But essentially, like, someone asked, like, oh, well, what did you do with the money? And, like, she basically said what she actually did, and how she wasn't actually doing anything else. Something along those lines. Again, this is just extreme paraphrasing because I can't pull up the actual tweet right now or the comments because I didn't save it like I should have. But yeah, it was like, it just all sounds very shady. And I mean, I get it. Like, that's just how the business is. But also, it's like, it's kind of fucked up. Like, you have someone who's literally giving you the last of their money, and you're just like, I'm gonna just take my time and do nothing. I'm gonna go on vacation and just be rude whenever they call me. Like, that sort of stuff is it's just weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Like, but if I'm getting paid to do something, I'm gonna try to do it well and in a timely manner. But also, if I'm getting paid to do something, I'm gonna, like, actually do it. I think, like, that's kind of what it comes down to. But even if I wasn't getting paid to do it, like, I would be, like, if someone asked me to do that and I have the ability to do so, I would try. But also, it's like, if I'm doing this because this is my job, like, I'm not gonna fuck around. Like, clearly you're hiring me because you believe that I can do well. I'm not gonna just take your money and dip. Like, that doesn't sound morally right, but whatever, I guess. But again, like I said, we really only know one side, and then just some of the comments that she did or she had on Clubhouse. So nothing's really for sure. Like, we don't know everything. I'm sure we will learn some more as time goes on, like I said, as well, because this is a developing case. But also, it's something that people don't necessarily talk about too often in anything. Like, there's all these, like I said, shady business practices that are kind of accepted. Like, that's like, oh, this is just how the industry moves. Like, this is just how it is. But, like, it doesn't have to be. Like, motherfuckers be greedy. And for what? Like, why? It just doesn't sound right. Like, don't, like, yeah, I don't know. People be greedy, and it just doesn't sit right with me. But I guess that's what happens when you start getting money. But that's more or less what I had for that. Joyner also started going off on Steve Stout yesterday. I think he's just continuing, like, he just has a lot to get off his chest. The whole Steve Stout stuff doesn't really make as much sense to me, at least from my understanding of it. Basically, I think it sounded like he was sort of receiving cease and desist, or he was hit with copyright infringement because United Masters and Joyner's company, or co-founded company Thule, have a similar slogan, which is was it a record label in your pocket or something? Yeah, a record label in your pocket. Which, to be fair, if it was actually sorry, I'm reading. If it was actually like a copyright or a trademarked term, I mean, they're kind of in the right there. But the whole point of this was just to like acknowledge or bring up the fact that this company, United Masters, or yeah, I think that's what it was meant to help promote independent artists and push them into like I guess a platform where they can gain fans. And you know, when you are doing something for independent artists, you don't want to make it harder for them, if that makes sense. So by copyrighting these things and I guess hitting him with infringement, Joyner felt like he was being limited, which makes a little bit of sense, but it's also like that's more business, I guess. I don't know. To me, that's like, all right, I get where you're coming from, but that's just kind of how business is sometimes. But that one I haven't spent too much time on because it's new and honestly a little bit less damning, if that makes sense. Like the whole Karen Civil thing was a lot more like, oh, okay, well, this is someone just fucking you over. Whereas the Steve Stout one is like, okay, well, this is kind of like two businesses fighting each other because Joyner has his business and the Steve Stout business. So it's like, all right, well, okay, now Joyner, you're just going for your money. But yeah, that's what I had for Joyner. Like I said though, we don't know the whole story yet. Maybe we won't ever know the whole story, but what we do know is that people have come out talking about Karen Civil in the past. Cameron has apparently stood up for a lot of people who have been wronged by her in the past as well. So there are receipts. Aside from that, I mean, we just have to wait to really know what's going on. Yeah, that's more or less all I had for this week. There was just some like other random news, but honestly, it's not even that major. I mean, Nicki Minaj said her cousin's friend became impotent from the COVID vaccine. So there's that, I guess. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna end it. I think I have rambled on long enough. Let me know what y'all think about this whole Karen Civil thing. If all these things are true, it's not a good look, to say the least. I don't know. I'm curious to see what other information will come of this, but again, we don't know yet. Honestly, it'll probably just get taken care of behind closed doors, and we won't actually hear what happened. Maybe for a few years, but I'm still curious. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about that whole situation. Also, like and subscribe if you want to see more ramblings and podcasts like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.